Hi, Hannah. Welcome to my podcast. I'm so excited to be chatting to Hannah today. We had such a magical meeting last year. It's actually crazy. It really wasn't even that long ago. I think it was in June.
Yeah, it was June.
So me and Hannah actually met in a crystal shop. I had this intuitive nudge. I was working and I just had this pull that was like, go to the crystal shop. And I knew it didn't really make sense, but I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna go. And I was like, oh, while I'm there, I'll like look at some crystals for this women's circle that I'm doing over the next few days. And as I'm in the crystal shop speaking to the lady about my women's circle, Hannah approaches me, asking me
I
about
was
my
just there.
circle.
Yeah. I was just there and I was shopping with my sister and I literally just overheard the word women's circle and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's nearby. I've got to go. I've got to ask her. And I was like, I felt really bad that I was eavesdropping. But yeah, straight away I was asking you and you told me about it. And literally like as soon as I walked out the door and you gave me your details, I said to my sister, like, I'm definitely going to be there. Like it was like a weird I can't explain it energy pull. Like I have to go to this women's circle, and yeah, it was awesome. It was so I was so glad I did.
It's so interesting how the universe does this with like divine timing. Like, if either of us hadn't have been in the crystal shop at that time, so much would have changed because so much has gone on for me and you both, like throughout this period of time. So, yeah, we had the women's circle, which was like so beautiful. And then you joined one of my programs, Explore Your Purpose, which again, I remember you saying you just had this intuitive nudge, like, I need to be part of this. And it's funny because I think a lot of people join thinking like, oh, I don't know what my purpose in life is. And I don't feel like that was it for you. You were like, I'm happy with like my career and pieces, but you were just like, I just know this is for me without any kind of logical reason.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because I was like seeing you post about it on Instagram like a lot, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. But my logical mind kept saying to me, yeah, but you have a job, you have a business that's thriving, you think you know your purpose-ish kind of. In my mind, I was like, logically, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. But it was literally like, yeah, but I feel drawn to this container. Like I feel drawn there and there's no logical reason for it. I just do. And I remember I literally waited until like the last day and I was like, right, that's it. Like I'm just going to accept the intuitive nudge and I'm going to go with it. And it was really funny because with every single week within your program, like, I mean, every call it was like something new came out of it. So sometimes it was like a little lesson that like later in the week, it was like exactly what I needed. Like people, things were just like falling in every week. And it was like, although I have a business that's like doing amazing, the purpose part actually was deeper than the business. And that's something that really came out of it for me was like, there was actually so much more to learn. Like, your purpose isn't your business, your purpose isn't your job, your purpose is you as you. I am, like, I am Hannah, and that's my purpose, and understanding who Hannah is. And that's massively what came out of those 10 weeks with you was like, who am I? And also, like, who do I want to be? And who am I becoming? Like, it's all part of the journey. And all of that came out of that time with you. And then ever since, like, I mean, every time we speak, it's just like, so many ideas come out of this, so many knowing, so much awareness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it's amazing. And I never approach anyone. Like, I can overhear something and think, oh, that's cool. Or oh, I'd love to get to know that person better or whatever. But I would never approach someone. But it was like my body just moved me towards you. And all of a sudden, I was asking you about your circle. And I remember I said to you in the store, I'm really sorry that I was listening into your conversation because I felt really bad about it. I said to my sister, like, was that rude? And my sister was like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't think she thought you were rude. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was rude.
Not at all. I was literally so happy. And yeah, I'm so, so glad you did. And I love everything that's unfolded. And I loved what you shared there around purpose, about being about us, because that's what I'm always sharing is like your purpose is to be authentically you. And like the more you are, like the more your business will thrive, the more like your connections will thrive. And I think they're kind of like the main things people got out of it were like, I can do what I want to do. And actually, like, I'm supposed to like enjoy my job. And my purpose is just to like be my true version of myself. And so many people like relationships were improving or they were meeting new people and like relationships with romantic people, but also like family members too. It was magic.
Mm.
And then on one of our sessions, we were talking about doing what lights you up because that's such a key piece in living your purpose is doing the things that you love. And we wrote this list of basically like a bucket list or a wish list. And I remember one of yours was, I want to run a women's circle with Cacao. And I love that, yeah, because Hannah is a Cacao facilitator. I am a massive Cacao lover. And I remember as soon as I saw that on your list, I was like, we need to do it. I was like, let's do it together. Like, this will be so much fun. And that was so magic as well. It was like we'd known each other a couple of months, but we actually knew each other like really well after this journey together. And then we run this like magic circle with a group of ladies. My first circle with Cacao, your first circle in general. And yeah, it was just perfect.
Oh my God, it was so magical. I think about it all the time, actually. Like, especially, I look back on the videos quite often and I'm like, oh my God, did I really do that? Like, when I'm sitting on calls and stuff for work, sometimes I get nervous and whatever. And then go back to like, hold on, you held a cacao circle with these women. Like, you know, if you can do that, you can do this. Like, it was such a massive growth moment for me. And it was also just like, this is something that I always massively admire about you is that I feel like you inspire people so much. You're like that nudge people need, like I don't have many people in my life that nudge me. I'm so, so, so lucky to have a lot of people in my life that want to protect me. And that's because like with my history of my health and everything, everyone around me usually wants to protect me. But because they want to protect me, not many people ever kind of push me forward. And sometimes, we're human. Like sometimes we need someone to kind of push us forward and encourage us forward. And it was like the minute you were like, well, let's do it together, I was like, well, I can't do that. You're like, yes, we can. When are we doing it? And you're like, right, let's organise the call and let's organise what we're going to do. And it turned out to be this incredible experience that just gave me so much more like confidence in myself, and also that feeling of like, actually, if I want to do something, like I can blinking well do it. Like I don't need anyone's permission. I can just do it. I wrote the list of 26 things I want to do in my 26th year. And that was inspired by you in the program. And I've already done like nearly half the stuff on my list. And I'm like, oh my God, look how much I've done already in my 26th year. Like that's amazing. And look what I've got to look forward to. And my partner turned 31 the other day and I said to him, you've got to make a 31 list. Like we have to have a 31 list. So we have all these exciting things to do in your 31st year. So I'm still
It's
convincing him to.
Yeah, the power of intention is like so magic. Like once we start thinking about the things we really want to do, and I think that's our problem in general is like we don't normally take the time to just like sit and think about what we'd love to do. But once we have done that, it's actually so easy to start doing them, and we want to, and it feels good. And I love what you say about this nudge as well, because that's what I kind of feel I do. It's like a loving nudge. Like I feel like I do it in like a nice way, but it's like a loving push towards what you already want to do. And just like teaching people that what they want is actually possible, or like supporting people to like believe that what they want is possible.
But I also think the key there as well is that like you reflect someone else's potential straight back at them.
Yeah.
And that is such a powerful thing to have in a coach or a mentor, like to sit on a call and feel like someone was reflecting that potential at you. Like it gives you so much belief in yourself, like that energy holding of like you are capable of more, you are capable of this next level is just like, oh shit, like I actually am, like I actually can do this, like when I think back to like the 16-year-old version of myself, um like how bad anxiety she had and like she wouldn't talk in front of people and social anxiety was through the roof and whatever. Like when I think to myself now, I think, oh my gosh, like there has been such a massive growth in the last 10 years or what have you. But in the last year, that growth has been like exponential, like is literally like gone through the roof. And I honestly think a big part of that has been having you in my kind of energetic field. Like even now, like although we're not necessarily directly working together, like I see your content on social media and stuff like that, and it's just so like it's inspiring. Like it is really inspiring, and it's just like it always makes me smile.
I've literally got the biggest smile on my face right now. And this is just that evidence as well that like you just have to be you, because like that is just
Yeah.
me on Instagram. It's like I'm not really like trying to push or force anything. I'm literally a lot of the time just sharing like what I'm doing and like my journey. It's like, oh, I've been for a 2K run this morning. I remember you replied to that before being like, oh, I'm so glad you shared that because, like so often we don't and we think we've got to like go big or it's like, we've not done it for a month and then we feel like we can't do it again. And it's literally just like sharing you. And it doesn't have to be online, most people don't share their whole lives online, but just being yourself, you inspire other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's taught me massively to be far more like authentic in myself, and
Hmm.
like just being able to be open about how I'm feeling, and like in regard like with regards to business in a big way, because for a long time it was like I had this perception that everything has to be super professional, and I do keep everything professional, but it's really funny because the more authentic I've been with my clients, I actually said to my partner just the other day, I feel like I'm becoming a life coach, because
Yep.
I have social media coaching calls that feel like they turn into life coaching calls. And he said to me something really lovely. He said, yeah, but they're just opening up to you because they feel so comfortable with you. Like you're being authentic with them, so they're authentic back. And that's the same thing. It's like you are showing your authentic self, and you're going to attract people that resonate with that authenticity.
Definitely.
You should,
Authenticity is like the strongest emotion, stronger than love. So I think the strongest is the right word for it. But basically, the more authentic we are, the more we're literally just going to like magnetize the right people to us. And I love what you just shared about like it. I know because you're, for anyone listening, social media manager, which is so funny because like in my mind, I know that's what you do, but I'm also like, and cacao facilitator. But it is like the more you can bring all parts of yourself to everything that you do, the more it's going to thrive. But also you support people with like social media, but people are going to do better with their social media and any kind of like job if they're happier within their life, you know? And that's this whole piece around holistic health and life coaching is like the more you make small shifts in one area of your life, the more that like the other areas of your life is going to thrive. And it may be something like completely unrelated, like, oh, I'm going to eat like a few more vegetables, but that's going to support you in so many ways with like your energy.
yeah.
So I think it's so magic.
And I literally said to a client today that what's going on in your personal life is so often reflected in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have kind of chaos going on in your personal life, sometimes it can reflect in the chaos of your business. So it's like all these things are interconnected, like with the body as well. Like, for me, it's been a massive, massive lesson about creating that calm and peace within my body. And I'm still very much working on it. But,
Mm-hmm.
I know that when my nervous system is out of whack, my business is often out of whack, or like if the business isn't working right, my nervous system gets completely unsettled by it. So there's always these kind of polarities connected.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to talk a bit more about your journey. You mentioned that like, when you were 16, you were quite anxious. And then I know you've also been going through your journey with endometriosis as well. So I'd love to, yeah, kind of hear a bit more about your journey and maybe like the key things that have helped you the most.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was like this confident dancer, drama, acting, like everything. I was always on stage. I loved it. And I honestly thought back then, I remember thinking like, I'm on top form. Like I was so fit. I was young, fit and happy, and everything was felt really easy. And then I turned 16 and I went on holiday with my family. And I woke up one morning with really bad stomach ache, and within a day I was in bed really poorly, and the doctor said I had gastroenteritis. Well, that led me to not leave my hotel room for 7 days. And by the time it came to leave the hotel room, I couldn't. I was so crippled with anxiety to walk out the door that I could not leave the room. It took my mum, my dad, and my sister to literally pull me out of the room to get me home. A lot of tears and a lot of stress and crying on the way home, but I finally got home and I developed agoraphobia. So I wouldn't leave my house.
Mm,
So this became a real big problem for about 2 months. I wouldn't leave the house. I developed gastro problems. I became gluten intolerant and dairy intolerant. Literally within months, like it was literally like super healthy, super happy, and then crippled with anxiety. Was supposed to start college, but I was so anxious, so I was put into therapy. And all this time, I was suffering with my periods and stuff like that, but no one ever talked about it with me. It was just like, oh, you're a girl, you have heavy periods, kind of get on with it.
hmm.
And no one ever thought about the fact that the whole time I was at school, every time I had a period, I'd often pass out, or I would struggle a lot more than some of the other girls.
Hmm.
But no one ever really connected the dots. And then at 19, I started getting a pain in one of my hips. It took me 6 months to convince a doctor to send me for a scan. When they finally sent me for a scan, they found a 10 centimeter dermoid cyst sitting on my right ovary, which was at very high risk to rupture. So luckily, I got referred to a gynecologist, I had to wait 6 months for the operation until it became an emergency. And then had to get me in within like 2 weeks. They managed to get me in because the waiting lists in the UK are just awful.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I went in for surgery to have my dermoid cyst removed, and they discovered endometriosis. No one had ever told me what endometriosis was. No one told me it existed. I literally had no idea. So I woke up and they were like, yeah, by the way, we found endometriosis on your ovaries and on your womb. And at the time, didn't really know what it meant. I just knew that, well, hopefully I'm going to be in less pain because the cyst was causing severe, severe pain. I couldn't walk properly anymore. I couldn't bend over. All this time I was also juggling really severe anxiety problems as well, which everyone told me was just anxiety. It was nothing to do with my hormones. It's nothing, like, no one understood the connection that was going on in my body. So everyone was just like, yeah, she's got anxiety, go to therapy. It took ages to convince people something was wrong in my body. Like, I intuitively knew for a really long time. So it was a relief when I finally found out. But when I found out, I didn't know what it meant. Long story short, I ended up having to have a second surgery less than 2 years later because the endometriosis has spread so severely. It was on my bowel, it was on my bladder, it was on my urethra, it was on my ovaries, it was on my womb. It had literally gone far. Yeah. And I'd also developed adenomyosis, which is the sister condition to endometriosis,
Hmm.
which is where endometriosis essentially grows into the lining of the womb, so it's untreatable. They can't do anything about it, which was a shock. Like, it was a really big surgery. The recovery was really long. And the funny thing is, when I look back now, back then I was 20 when I had that second surgery. And at the moment, I keep connecting with women online who have endometriosis. Like, I connect with them a lot. I've
Hmm.
got a TikTok page where I talk a lot about endometriosis. And I feel like I've gone through so many stages of grief in my journey. Like, I've gone through the grief of having to realize that all those years people were telling me I had anxiety problems and everything going on is all in my head. I had to kind of grieve the fact that actually, like, I wasn't wrong. Like, it wasn't just in my head. There was actually the hormones that was going on in my body was a big, big cause of the anxiety feelings I was having.
Hmm.
Like, I have theories that what happened on holiday wasn't gastroenteritis. It was actually my endometriosis kind of starting, because it just
Hmm.
makes sense with my whole journey.
Yep.
But now, as I'm reflecting and I'm connecting with other women with endometriosis, I'm literally just like, I feel like I've done so much healing work in the last 2 years to kind of learn to accept my condition, learn to accept there's nothing I could do about it, in the sense of I can't get rid of it. There's no cure. I can't just get rid of it. But there is so much I can do in my energy work. There's so much I can do with natural healing. There's so much I can do with holistic healing. And this is something that, 4 years ago, I was too young to even be aware of. But now there's so much I'm learning every day. Like, it was just so funny when I saw your stories months ago and you were doing like juice cleansing. And I was like, I never really thought about juicing very much. So once again, like, I got inspired. So I started
Hmm.
Googling juicing and learning all about juicing. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many juices for inflammation. And endometriosis is biggest trigger is inflammation. So I started making juices for inflammation reducing. And I was noticing, like, literally this morning, I'm having a flare up. So the first thing I did was make a juice, and my inflammation went down by like 50% within an hour. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't need to chuck pills down my throat and pump my body with hormones and all this stuff. Like, there are natural ways to heal things.
I love
And
that.
it's been a really big wake up call. And I just want other women to realize, and also to realize that, like, you have different levels of intuition. And I remember you talking about this in your program about having body intuition. I remember going into that session with you and I was like, I don't think I'm very good at following the intuition. Like, I feel like I get the intuition but I don't necessarily follow it. And afterwards I was like, no, I've literally had my body is my intuition. Like, my body always communicates to me when it's not
Hmm.
right, when something isn't right, when something isn't aligned. Like, my body sometimes screams at me when something isn't aligned. I just need to learn to listen to it.
Definitely. And thank you so much for like sharing your story. I know there's so many women out there like struggling with these pieces. And it's really hard because, like you said, we're not always listened to, like with any kind of like symptom. But I think especially with female symptoms. A lot of the medical stuff is like created by men who couldn't possibly like know like how a woman's body feels. And yeah, the fact that you had to like push so hard to be like, I know something's wrong, but no one's like understanding me. And I think it's hard at such a young age as well, because we are taught to give our power away and to go to the specialist, and we do need a specialist 100%, but also like we know our bodies so well and we know when there's something wrong. And doctors don't necessarily like know, because I think you have to like really get to know yourself, and like they don't necessarily always have like the time or maybe even like knowledge to like fully get to know someone, because it is finding out what's right for them. There's not like a one size fits all, and often like medical stuff is like, okay, what kind of surgery can we do, what kind of pills can we give. They don't really have this like holistic perspective, which is something that can really support people. And I think that's the problem, is so many women go to the doctors, they don't feel like seen, or they don't have like a good experience, or they don't get the help that they need, and then they're like, what now? And then, often think that there's not really anything else they can do. But actually there's such like a world of knowledge and other kind of like, yeah, natural things that can really support people. And I love that, yeah, you found this on your journey, and like stuff like nutrition's really supported you. Like I know you're kind of into a lot of like spiritual things as well, breath work and other pieces. And even if these don't like directly link to like everything is always supporting us. Is there anything else that has been like really big for you on your endo journey?
I think connecting with my spiritual side has been a massive thing.
Hmm.
I feel like I went almost through a bit of a spiritual awakening 2 years ago. And that was when I discovered the absolute magic of ceremonial cacao
Yeah.
and this incredible plant medicine just just opened me up. I went through years of rejecting the connection with my body. Like I didn't want to sit with myself. I didn't want to sit with my body because it was painful. Like, if your body is in pain, we often subconsciously reject the connection to ourselves. We go into our head and we reject that deep connection, which means we also reject grounding, because if we're not connecting to our bodies, we're also not grounding down. So a lot of the time I was like very, everything was up here. My energy was always up here. It was never down here, like fully rooted in myself. And using ceremonial cacao allowed me to pause and sit and drop into my body. And it's just become a practice I use every week, sometimes every day. At the moment, I'm doing it every day whilst I'm having a bit of a flare up. It supports me massively. And I think it's that mixture of like, you have there's that theobroma in the cacao, which is like that heart opener, gets the blood pumping, and it just gives you that like openness and that clarity of thought and feeling. And that means I can drop into meditation. I never thought I would meditate, like never. And cacao almost like allowed me that pause moment to learn to meditate. And now I meditate every day, at least for 5 minutes, usually for about 15, so I usually get carried away. And I don't need cacao anymore. Like I can just switch off my mind like that. Like I don't need cacao. I can just switch off. Like sometimes my partner comes in and he'll walk through the room and I don't even know he's there because I'm just so in my own space. And that's so beautiful. And I hear so many people say to me like, "Oh, I can't do that. Like I can't sit with myself and like I can't meditate and what have you." And I'm like, literally everyone can. Like if
Hmm.
I can, literally everyone can. And using something like ceremonial grade cacao, it is a beautiful invitation to just take that pause and to just take that moment. And on like a low dose, it makes you feel great and it makes you feel really relaxed. And on a higher dose, it makes your whole body feel amazing. Um, and I just think that's been a tool to opening up my spiritual side. Like from there, I started
Yes.
to learn breath work, and I've dived into self-development and energy work. And this is all stuff that I honestly never thought I would get into, or like couldn't even imagine would be part of my journey. But I'm so glad it is, and it just means that I have so many ideas and so many thoughts going forward of how I want to help more women with endometriosis and bring cacao and ceremonial grade cacao
Mm.
into their lives and into their worlds and inspire them and show them how this magical plant can help you.
I
So yeah,
love
I
that
think
so
that's
much. It is the slow down, isn't it? And I think, yeah, like the cacao is a tool to support people. And I know I shared this with you. And again, this is not like a perspective that most people hear about, but there's a really amazing book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it talks about the emotional cause of physical disease. And I know that there's so many different things that can impact our physical health. So this is just like one perspective. But when I looked up like polycystic ovaries, a lot of what I was reading was sharing that it's linked to a rejection of our feminine energy. And I think that is completely, it's normal in our masculine dominated society where we're taught to like be productive, take action. Like so many of us aren't really connected with our feminine energy, and our feminine energy is more about like listening to our intuition, listening to our bodies, connecting with our creativity, and just being, and being in
yeah.
stillness. And I think the more that we can connect with our feminine energy, like the more that's going to support us within life.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely an evidence of that. When I joined your program, I was very in my masculine, like, and
As
that's
most of
just
us are.
easy.
I've been there too.
Yeah. It's also just so easy, as you'll know, like when you're a business owner, you have to do everything. So it's so easy to get stuck in that masculine energy. And like I work with a lot of coaches who work with energy, who also do energy work and a lot of energetic coaches and stuff. But even though I know the teachings and I very much embody them in other areas of my life, there are certain times like in business and what have you where I get so stuck in the masculine, and I really noticed how this reflects on different areas of my life. And I keep remembering, it's just coming into my head and it's making me giggle when we had a call and you were talking to me about bringing the feminine into your life and that flirty energy and kind of flirting with life.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like flirting with partners and stuff as well and bringing that energy in. And I never forget when you said about, oh, like flirting with him to take the bins out and stuff like this. Just like, yeah, instead of nag him, flirt him to take the bins out. And this worked so well. Like I was so shocked how well this worked. But it was a proper like, oh my God, like I can bring feminine energy into the stuff that maybe feels masculine. Because I don't want to be bossy or whatever. And so like I can bring that feminine and I can bring that like that sexual energy as well. Like this is such
Yeah.
a this is a powerful, forceful energy. If you can tap into that with the feminine, I think there's so much power there. So much
Oh,
power there.
there is. Yeah, love this. And also like not to invalidate anyone who has like endo or polycystic ovaries, because I know I got a lot of hate when I wrote a tweet about this kind of like emotional cause of disease. It's not to say that anyone's like created it or anything like that, but it's just like learning that, well, just like exploring even that if you connect more with your feminine energy, it may actually support your symptoms to like get a little bit better. And I loved what you shared earlier as well around like accepting physical symptoms. You were like, I needed to accept my endo, because I feel with so many like physical symptoms, we want to push it away. It's like, how can I get this away? And like put like lots of negative energy, like I hate this part of me, like why have I got it? Blah blah blah. And actually, it's so powerful to accept, and be like, okay, this is part of me for now, at least, and then what can I do about it? What are the positive things? And it's just bringing that complete shift in energy from like push away negative energy into like, yeah, accept, which is a very big part of like feminine energy as well. It's like this surrender, like how can I
Yeah.
surrender to this? And then like take action from a place of like love rather than hate.
Yeah. And I think when you surrender, like for me, what it meant to accept was to kind of love that part of myself, which was
Mhm.
is I'm not going to say it's a one day switch. It's not like, I still get days when my body is being not very nice to me, like it was yesterday. And I think to myself, oh, why now? Why today? Why me? But then the one thing I have to keep coming back to is that as hard as my condition can be, I have learned so much through my condition. I don't think I would be as an empathetic person as I am without it. I don't even think I would be as spiritually awakened or tapped in if I didn't have it, because it was that pushed me in that direction.
Hmm.
Um, so I think I've got to witness people love me in such a profound way in and prove that to me by looking after me when I've been ill and looking after me when I've had operations and what have you. Like there is, I have so much to be grateful for. And that's the biggest thing I have to take out of everything. And that's something that when I'm laying on my sofa, like I was on the weekend and I'm not feeling that good, I just kept saying to myself, yeah, but I'm really grateful for the days I felt great. Like I'm really grateful for Friday. I got to go out with my partner for his birthday and I was really grateful for it. So if my body needs rest and my body needs to recover, then I'm surrendering to that, you know? And that for me is tapping into my feminine energy. That's going, okay, I'm gonna look after my feminine now and I'm just gonna let her rest. And the beautiful thing about that I've noticed as well is that when I allow myself to do that, the masculine in my life always shows up for me. So the man in
Hmm.
my life, like he always shows up for me without a doubt because I do this. Whereas when I'm like, fighting to look after myself or fighting to do it myself, then he can't see that the man will react when you surrender a little bit.
Hmm.
And so I get way more love and I get way more looked after when I just accept it and surrender.
Definitely. And like we have to receive. We're not really taught to receive. But actually like we're supposed to. And it's magic. And people want to give to us, you know? People want to like look after us when we're not feeling good. Like we want to look after other people if they're not feeling great too.
And I also just think like, men need to hear this. They need to know that they deserve it as well. Like you're allowed. You deserve to be looked after and you deserve to surrender and you deserve to take that day off if you want to take that day off. Like this has been such a massive lesson for me to just take time out when I need time out. Like
Hmm.
again, it was a while ago, but when I said to you before, you told me that you were taking mornings to have cacao, and I was like, but I don't have time. I was like, yeah, yes, I do. Wake up 30 minutes earlier and take the damn time for yourself, you know? And
Yeah.
now it is a non-negotiable. Every morning I get up 30 minutes before my partner gets up, and I have 30 minutes of divine quiet to myself. I can do my journaling, I can drink my cacao, and I can start my day in the best way possible for me. And that was just coming from a simple choice that I prioritized myself.
Our habits and our daily routines make such a big difference to our life, and literally just implementing one thing can be such a big game changer. I know something else that we've spoken about quite a lot, both in the program, and outside, is beliefs. Like what we believe about our lives makes such a big difference. And so many of us have these limiting beliefs. Like even you just shared, like, oh, I don't have time. And it's like, well, that's actually a belief, not a fact. And you did create time, but also around, when you have your flare ups as well. I know you had a big shift before being like, I can't do anything on my flare up. And it's not to say that you have to, because I love that you surrender and you're like, I'm just going to rest when I need to rest and I'm just going to listen to my body. But I know that you also shared that there's sometimes where you're like, actually, I can do stuff and actually, I can take this action and I don't have to let it control everything.
Like, got into a habit or a belief was created that every time I have a flare up, I can't do anything. I'm no good to anyone. Or it was funny because I was having flare ups on like a monthly basis, like a
Hmm.
period would come. Yeah, I was on medication where I shouldn't have a period or flare up on a cycle. And I started to realize, like, when a doctor said to me, like, she didn't know why it was happening, I had this weird wake up call, like, well, I do, because I'm basically telling myself it's going to happen. Like, I'm believing it's going to come on a monthly cycle.
You're
So
expecting
maybe I'm
it.
the one kind of, yeah, so maybe I'm kind of causing it in a really weird, roundabout way. And so I did some very strong work around this belief system, like like a lot of work around the belief system. And when I felt like I finally had that kind of aha moment, the next month, I literally went like 2 months without flare up. And I was like, oh my God, like look at the power I hold. Like, and with that came that belief of like, flare up does not mean I'm going to be in bed. It does not mean I can't do anything. However, I will tune into my intuition of my body and let my body decide what is right, what it wants to
Exactly.
do. And that's what I do now. The beautiful thing about it is like I feel like I've let go of so much guilt that I held on to for a really long time, especially like feeling just feeling guilty for like canceling plans and stuff like this. Like, oh my God, I beat myself up for so many years and I thought I'd lost friends because of my illness, but I actually deselected them subconsciously to protect myself because I didn't
Hmm.
want to feel guilty that I couldn't go out with friends or make plans. So instead of them being the ones that said, oh no, we don't want to be your friend because you're ill. I did that to myself. I told myself they don't want to be my friend because I'm ill and I deselected them. And but it's taken me a long time to realize that I actually did that. I created that reality myself.
Hmm.
and now that I'm noticing that I'm releasing myself of that guilt, of that like feeling like I have to do something for someone else when I actually need to look after myself, I'm making friends again, which is just amazing because it feels like it's been such a long time since I've like that part of my life starts to thrive again. And it just, yeah, it just astounds me just how much of these belief systems we create around ourselves. And I remember when we went through the step-by-step process on that call with you in Explore Your Purpose. And I actually had you to myself on that call, and we did it just one to one, and we went through these beliefs. And I remember sitting there, and you were like questioning the beliefs, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like the amount of beliefs I've created in my life, like, and how have these beliefs shaped my life now? So often we blame other people, we blame other situations, like, and actually we don't realize that actually if we just shifted our beliefs a little bit, we could have changed the whole narrative, and we could change the whole reality we're living. And I think that's just such an incredible thing to come to realize. And if more people just like kind of awakened to this and questioned the beliefs and questioned the beliefs we're telling ourselves on a quite often subconscious level, but tuning in and learning to become aware of those beliefs, I think it would almost like free society.
Oh, 100%. I remember when I did my holistic health coaching course, and there's definitely parts of it that I was doing where you just know there that's like magic. And I remember doing the limiting belief section and being like, okay, this is something that is big that I need to do. And it's a big part of the work that I do with like every single client. And it's not to have judgment on ourselves either, like, because we all have these beliefs and we do kind of need them. We have like 60,000 thoughts a day or something. We need our mind to like know some stuff and do stuff in the background without us kind of like actively doing it. And all of our beliefs we've kind of got from like growing up or different experiences, and they may have served us for like a period of time, but we really do need to bring them into the awareness to be like, okay, is this belief true? Probably not, and then is it serving me? No, probably not. And then how can I change it? And then as soon as you change it, like magic happens.
Yeah, and I've just watched this play out in my life over the last year massively. And I think now it's become like I've trained like almost like the muscle. So like
Yeah.
when I'm noticing those limiting beliefs popping up, I'm like, no, not today. You can't control me anymore. It doesn't just stop them. We're human. You can't
Yes.
necessarily just switch them off, but being able to prove to yourself why they're not true is just such a massive part about it. And when it comes to health, um, I believe this is a really big part of learning that acceptance stage. If you're diagnosed with endometriosis or a long-term health condition, kind of the acceptance stage kind of comes from realizing that doesn't make you, that's not you, like that's not your identity. That's
Mm-hmm.
just part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of get to rebuild your identity from there, how you want. Like for a long time, I got stuck in the identity of, oh, I've got endometriosis and adenomyosis and I'm a sick person. And that's not who I am. It's part of me. I wouldn't say that I'm sick, but I don't like that phrase. But my endometriosis will always be a part of me, but it is not who I am. I decided to change the narrative. I decided to change the story instead of allowing that to kind of run my life.
That gave me like
Changed
full
everything.
body goosebumps. Yeah. Magic. This has been so amazing to chat to you today. Is there any kind of like final piece of advice that you'd like to share with everyone? Or just like a tip or a tool that has really supported you?
I would say if you're in a space in your life where you feel that awakening, you feel like there's something more, but you don't know what that more is, find someone to hold space for you to uncover it. Because I have found so much transformation from being in space, being held, whether it's by you or other people or having Reiki, or I've experienced quite a lot of different ways of being held energetically. And every single one has unlocked something completely different for me in another level. And it's just always brought me new realizations and new understandings. And like I say, the person who you choose who feels aligned to you, they will always reflect your purpose back at you. And that is just such a magical thing to sit and feel held in that way. I honestly think that'd be my biggest piece of advice, because I just think like we're not meant to do everything on our own. For me and my story, when I was diagnosed back when I was 19, like I wish I had someone to sit with me and help me understand that this was not who I am. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, for 5 years, I allowed it to become my identity that I am a sick person and I am that, like that is it. That's it for me. You know, I'm never going to be able to do all the things I dream about, and you kind of get dragged into that. So it's, you know, this isn't just for the people who are sick. This is for everyone. That if you're just feeling called to be held in some way, in an energetic way, just do it. Like follow the nudge, do it. Work with Effie, she's amazing. Or whoever feels aligned. Like, you
Yes.
know, just as long as they feel aligned to you, energetically aligned, like that's all the knowing you need. Like that's it. Like you feel that alignment and you're being pulled in that direction for a reason. So just trust it.
I love that. And I think coaching is something that is, it's been going on for a while, but it can be fairly new to a lot of people. I think a lot of people in the spiritual space know a lot about coaching, but I think it's becoming more and more normal. And I think as soon as people actually start doing it, they're like, wow, this has made such a big difference. Like people say to me all the time, like, this has supported me more than like therapy. And it's just, it's a completely different practice, but it is in the space of like being held, being listened to. And then for me it's like, how can we move forward, you know? Like it's not always necessarily about like diving back into life. It's like, yeah, okay, that may have affected me, but how can I use that to propel me and to like take the steps to basically enjoy life more. And yeah, such a big piece I feel is that like everything in our life is supporting us to get back into alignment with our true path and purpose. And if anyone's feeling like a little bit off their path, like whether you feel like lost, stuck, stagnant, you've got anxiety, maybe you've got a physical health problem, like this can teach you so much about yourself. And this is what you shared too. It's like, yes, although endo has been like a really challenging aspect of your life, actually you wouldn't be who you were today without it. And you've been able to learn so, so much. And even just having that kind of like mindset about it, I bet feels like, yeah, it feels good. It's not necessarily that you've got it for a reason, but because you've got it, you've been able to learn so much about yourself and potentially support other people with it too. Like I'm excited for the people to listen to this episode and to yeah, hopefully they'll get some like tips. And if anyone wants to reach out to like Hannah and I, either with any questions, I mean, I'm volunteering this for you, but I'm sure you're happy to
Yeah, it's
answer them
fine.
too.
I'll answer any questions. Of course, I mean, I always want to help anyone I can with this stuff. Like I know how hard it is. And the other thing I just wanted to say just before we finish is that you know, although I have shifted this mindset massively and I am looking through everything through the trying to look through everything through the perspective of you know, how is this a gift and how has this supported me and what have you. I also massively appreciate and know that, you know, we always have the dark day as well. You know, we all get our dark days and we all fall into the trap of making ourselves victims, the slight victim mentality or what have you. Like, that's also completely fine. Like, that's absolutely
Hmm.
completely okay. As long as you don't sit there too long, you know, as long as you pull yourself out eventually, that's also completely fine. I think for me, that's been the real magic when I've had someone who holds space for me, is that when I do kind of dip into that space, like I know I'll get pulled straight back out again. I know I won't be there very long, you know.
Definitely. And I love that. Thank you so much for sharing because, yeah, often we glorify all the positive stuff and like, how can we get better? And actually, we're not supposed to feel like 100% all the time. And we're supposed to feel our emotions. So it's normal to have down days. Like we all have them. So yeah, just being able to like embrace that and then knowing when's the time to be like, okay, now I need to get out. Amazing. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining. This has been so much fun. I hope everyone enjoys this and look forward to, yeah, hearing your comments and hope everyone has a lovely rest of your day.